Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmalatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master was kindly opened my eyes with shining torchlight of transcendental knowledge. I therefore offer my respectful obeisances unto his lotus feet, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So a new chapter this week.
Yes.
So we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 8, entitled Attaining the Supreme. Text.
This chapter is very important. Because Mataji was telling that in this chapter, it tells you everything. Like, what's the essence is the whole Bhagavad Gita is in this chapter.
No, 10th chapter.
No, 10th chapter. 10th chapter.
Oh, okay. Not this one. What is the shloka number 8, 9, 10?
Oh,
10.8.
Oh, she was saying 10.8. So not 8th chapter, but 10.8. So 10th chapter, text 8. 9, 10, and 11. So 4 verses. Yeah. Yeah, 4 verses, which are regarded as the essence of Bhagavad Gita.
Beautiful.
But yeah, every chapter is containing so much valuable wisdom. So many important things to be hearing from the Supreme Person. As this first verse is saying, and one word is Purushottama. So Purushottama means the Supreme Person. So we're so lucky that we're hearing directly from the Supreme Person. Other than the Supreme Person, like in the material world, we are known as conditioned souls. So we're subject to so many conditions, like, birth, old age, disease, and death. And we're conditioned to ignorance and passion and so many things. But it said that every conditioned soul has 4 defects. 4 defects, every conditioned soul. So one is that we make mistakes. One is that we are subject to illusion, to Maya. One is that we have a cheating propensity. There's a tendency that we have to cheat others. We don't actually know what the truth is, but we talk like we know, isn't it? We talk like, well, you know what we're talking about, but actually we don't have any idea what we're talking about. We're just speculating, And the 4th one is that our senses are imperfect senses. So it said every conditioned soul has those 4 defects. Therefore, what knowledge can you really get from a conditioned soul, that we have these defects? So we just get cheated, we just get cheated. Like at school, what did they teach me? That we come from monkeys, where ancestors were monkeys, and that it all started from a big bang and so forth, and that we're just the body. And you only have this one life, just enjoy sense gratification as much as possible. And like that. So yeah, it's not real knowledge at all. But here we're hearing from the Supreme Person, and the Supreme Person, Krishna, he doesn't have these defects. He doesn't make mistakes. Is not under illusion. He controls the illusion. He's not under illusion.
His senses are perfect.
His senses are perfect. His senses are completely perfect. And also, he doesn't cheat. He's the only person that's not trying to cheat us, So he's just telling us the truth. So we're so lucky to be able to hear from the Supreme Person, Purushottama. So Arjuna addresses, this is Arjuna speaking this verse, Arjuna Uvacha. So he's addressing Krishna here as Purushottama. And he hasn't put the word Krishna in here. He's not saying, hey, Krishna, can you answer my questions? He's saying, hey, Purushottama. So that's just to help us to realize that Krishna is not an ordinary person. He's a Supreme Person. He's the Supreme Person. Purusha means person. Purusha means person. And Uttama. Uttama means the Supreme, the topmost. Actually, Uttama means, there's 2 parts to Uttama. Ut and Tama. So Tama means darkness, so ignorance. This material world is known as tamas, as the world of darkness. This universe, this material world is full of darkness, tamas. And ut means above. So Uttama means above the darkness. So he's above the darkness or the ignorance of this material world. It means he's transcendental. So he's completely transcendental. Often it'll be mentioned that that Krishna is transcendental, the devotional service is transcendental, the devotee is transcendental. So that means they're above the material world. All these personalities. You want to say something?
No, I just was thinking Purusha, supreme enjoyer. Purusha Uttama, supreme enjoyer. No? Purusha means he's the enjoyer.
Okay, so Jayanti's making another point. So Purusha means person, and also Purusha also means enjoyer, is the enjoyer. So the only true enjoyer is Krishna. Actually, in the material world, it's said that all the conditioned souls, we're all trying to be enjoyers, isn't it? We're all trying to imitate God. He's the only real enjoyer, and we're meant to be enjoyed by him. We're meant to be enjoyed by him. But we're trying to imitate him in the material. We're all trying to be enjoyers in one way or another. We're trying to, enjoy through our senses, and we try to control things to enjoy them. We want to be the proprietor, the owner of something. This is my house, my car, my family, like that, my money. We're trying to enjoy.
Enjoyment is connected to our senses, or enjoyment can be connected to our soul as well?
Definitely. That's the real enjoyment. The real enjoyment is for the soul, and the soul's enjoyment is in a loving relationship with the Supreme Soul, with Krishna. That's the real enjoyment. And that's why everyone is searching for enjoyment here, is because that's our nature of the soul to enjoy. But the problem is, that we're trying to enjoy, which is our nature, but through the body, which is matter. So we're trying to enjoy, the soul's trying to enjoy through matter, and that doesn't work. So, but how the enjoyment really works is that we don't, in our original spiritual existence, we don't try to enjoy separately from Krishna. That is never there in the spiritual world. That we enjoy with Krishna. That we try to give the soul, every soul in the spiritual world tries to give pleasure to Krishna through service, tries to serve Krishna, give pleasure to Krishna. And when Krishna enjoys that service, then as a byproduct or secondarily, we enjoy. So Krishna enjoys first and we enjoy second. Does that make sense? Whereas in the material world, we just want to enjoy without Krishna. We just want to enjoy the first. We want to be the first enjoyer. We don't want to, like, how does a devotee eat? We give the food to Krishna first, and then we eat second. So Krishna enjoys it first, we enjoy it second. And the material world, what do? We just go and eat it ourselves first. We want to enjoy the food first. But no. But as you know, when you offer the food to Krishna, actually you enjoy it more. The food tastes better. The food tastes much better when you offer it to Krishna. And people would often tell me that, like with the restaurant and things like that, or at the farm, that we cook the same rice and dal and sabji at home, but it doesn't taste this good. But when we come to the bhakti tree or the farm, it tastes much better. How come? Why is that? And that's because Krishna has enjoyed it first. So that's the idea. Yes, we do enjoy, but after Krishna. We're not thinking about enjoying. We're only thinking about Krishna enjoying. And then after Krishna enjoys, we automatically enjoy, automatically. And the examples given, the hand takes the food and puts it in the mouth. And then when the stomach enjoys the food, then the hand automatically gets it, right? The hand automatically gets it after the stomach has enjoyed it. But if the hand thinks, oh, I don't want to give it to the stomach. Why I put it in the mouth and give it to the stomach? I'm just going to enjoy it myself. So if the hand goes to squeeze the halava or the, paneer sabji and puri or whatever, you can't get it. You can't get it directly. So just like your hand can't get the food directly, it can only get it indirectly by giving it to the stomach. In the same way, we want to be happy, but we can't get it directly. We have to get it indirectly by giving Krishna happiness. We give the happiness to Krishna, and when Krishna's happy, because we're part of Krishna, remember? So that's why is it that if Krishna's happy, we're happy? Why is that? Because we're part of Krishna. So when Krishna's happy, we're happy.
Yeah.
But you can't enjoy separately. That's the thing. If I cut this hand off from the body, can the hand be happy? Can the hand enjoy it? No, it can't do anything. It's useless. The hand only has value when it's connected to the body.
Water to the roots, and the whole plant will be happy.
Yeah. So that's the principle. So it's said that in the material world that we're all trying to be Purushas. We're all trying to be the enjoyers. But that's not our position. Our position is we're Prakriti. Actually, our nature is called Prakriti, not Purusha. Where Prakriti means we're the energy. We're the energy of Krishna. So as the energy or Prakriti, is we're meant to give pleasure, satisfaction to the Purusha. And when the Purusha is satisfied, then automatically the Prakriti or the energy is satisfied. So that's the way it works. And when you try it, you realize it works, I was always trying to be happy, before I met the devotees. But I never was happy. I was never satisfied. I was either hankering for something or lamenting. And then after Krishna consciousness, now I'm happy. And now I'm not trying to be happy. I'm trying, my purpose is to try to make Krishna happy. And then automatically become happy. That's the thing. But you're right, it is our nature to be happy. It's not our nature to suffer. It's not our nature to be miserable. And it's our nature to be happy. But the thing is, the real happiness is with Krishna, not without Krishna. Can't have happiness without Krishna. It's not possible. Yeah. And example of that is like someone is in the desert looking for water, and you're not going to find it there. You think there's water in the desert. What do you call it when you think you can see water in the desert?
Mirage.
It's a mirage.
Yeah, mirage. It's an illusion. It's a mirage. So that's why we say the material world is like Maya, right? So the idea is that we're trying to be happy in the material world without Krishna. That's Maya. That's the mirage. You can't. But does that mean water doesn't exist? No, water does exist, but not in the desert. If you're looking for water in the desert, it's the wrong place to find water. Right. So you have to go to the oasis. So that's the spiritual world. So the real happiness in the spiritual world. So it's not that happiness is not an illusion, but thinking you can find the happiness without Krishna in the material world, that's the illusion. That's the thing. So yeah, he's the Purusha, he's the real enjoyer, and we're the Prakriti. We're meant to give pleasure to him. And yeah, he's transcendental to this darkness of the material world. He's the Purushottama, supreme person. So Arjuna's making that clear. He's not just saying, hey, Krishna, can you answer my questions? He's just saying, Purushottam, supreme person, please. So he's going to the right person. If you have a question, you should go to someone, like I said, that doesn't make mistakes, not going to cheat you, doesn't have under illusion, not going to have an imperfect senses. So this is the right place, the right person to be asking questions and hearing from, is to hear from the supreme person who's beyond these defects. Okay, so let's read the verse. Arjuna uvacha.
Arjuna uvacha.
Kim tad brahma kim adhyatmam.
Kim tam brahma kim adhyatam.
Kim karma purushottama.
Kim karma purushottama.
Adibhutam cha kim proktam.
Adibhutam cha kim proktam.
Adidaivam kim uchyate.
Adidevam kimuchate. Arjuna required, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me.
So lots of questions Arjuna has. Actually, this is very important for a disciple. A disciple, one of the duties of the disciple.
Arjuna, it's pretty much our questions. Every human questions.
Yeah. So this is what a human being is supposed to do. What's the difference between a human being and an animal, or a bird, or a fish, or a plant? Human beings meant to ask questions related to spiritual topics. I mean, animals, it said, Prabhupada also mentions in the Bhagavatam one purport that the birds also, they're chirping in the morning, right? When the sun is rising in the morning, the birds are very noisy, and the sunset also. And it said that they're also asking questions and giving answers. But it's all related to the body, it's all related to food. Like they might be saying, hey, there's a really good tree down the road that's got lots of nice ripe fruit at the moment, like that. So, their questions and answers amongst themselves, the birds are talking to each other, but it's all related to the body, bodily things. So, or, some birds might be chirping, and you'll notice that there's a cat running along the ground. So they're warning the other ones that, hey, watch out, there's a cat coming, the cat's coming, like that. So they also may have questions, but it's all mundane, all related to eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, the four bodily activities. But a human being is meant to ask questions related to spiritual subjects. That's the specialty of a human being. And as I was going to say, that this is a very important function or duty of a disciple, that you should be inquisitive to ask questions from the spiritual master. So here Arjuna he's in the second chapter, he surrenders to Krishna, because remember, he's a friend of Krishna. But in the second chapter, at one point, he's so confused, and he realizes that to get out of my confusion, I can't do it just by treating Krishna as a friend. I need to surrender to him and accept him as my spiritual master. It means to get a serious relationship. I need to make this a serious relationship and accept him as my spiritual master. So we can read that verse, and that's the second chapter, text 7. This is a very important point in Arjuna's life, where he surrenders to the Guru. And that's very important for all of us to come to that point where we actually surrender. And in the beginning, we can't see Krishna directly, so to surrender to Krishna directly, so we surrendered to his representative. So people say, well, how do you surrender to Krishna? I can't see Krishna or talk to Krishna. But we can see Krishna is very mercifully, out of his mercy and love for us, he's sent his representative to us in the material world, the spiritual master. So that's a very important point to come to. So yeah, do you want to read that, text 7?
Now I'm confused about my duty and have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I'm asking you to tell me for certain what is best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrender unto you. Please instruct me.
Yeah. To get to this point, Arjuna's had to come to the rock bottom. He's really suffering, really confused. He's tried to sort out his problems. He can't sort out his problems. And in that complete desperation and confused state, he's surrendering to Krishna. And often that's the case, that Does someone normally come to spiritual life when they're very happy, materially very happy? Not usually. Not usually.
But the thing is, when the kid asks a question to his father, so he surrendered to his father. Like usually a kid, he's got a delusion there, like, you know, what to do, what not to do. He asks that his father. So his father is the guru as well. That's why he asks his father what to do. He don't have any knowledge. He asks definitely parents. So the parents as well classified as a guru.
That may be there. That may be there. I mean, children can ask questions to the parents, but what kind of answer they're going to get from the parents depends on their level of consciousness. But yeah, some children may treat their parents as like spiritual
his parents, which if he doesn't believe in parents, who is he going to believe to? He probably will say, definitely my father will definitely give me right advice, this to do, this not to do. So so he'll choose father as a guru because
but it depends on what level of consciousness the child has. Most children are not really treating the parents like a guru. I mean, most children treat the parents like a bank.
Oh yes.
Yeah, like, oh, can you give me this money to buy this? Can you buy me a bicycle? You know, can you get me a lollipop? You know, can you get me this latest toy? Can you get me the latest iPhone? And, you know, like that. Can you buy me some new clothes? And, you know, so a lot of times children just treat the parents like a bank, you know, like that unlimited money supply. So
if the parents also, you know, the same path like a disciple of such and such guru, and then he will treat you to be direct in the same direction. You know, if you're born in the disciples family, a devotee's family.
So it depends on the culture. It depends on what culture the family is in. Like if you're in the Indian culture, then you might be lucky to have that. Like Prabhupada said that about his parents. He said, whatever I learnt from my guru, so he means Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, I already had learnt it from my father, his name was Gaura Mohan Day. Gaura Mohan Day. He said, except for one thing. He said, I learned everything I learned from my guru. I'd learned it from my father, except for one thing. And what was the one thing he didn't learn from his father? And that was only about the importance of printing spiritual books and distributing books. So his father didn't teach him about the printing, publication, and distribution of the Shastra. But everything else, like about Brahman and the Atma and Paramatma and Purushottama and Vaikuntha and Maya and everything he learnt from his father. And even his father got him a mridanga teacher to learn how to play mridanga and harmonium and all these kind of things. So he got his son trained up into how to do the bhajans and kirtans, and he taught his son how to do the artis and everything like that. And he helped his son to do a Rath Yatra. He did a Rath Yatra when he was very young. His father had organized that also. So yeah, if you have that culture, then that's there. The father will act like a guru, and the child will be like a disciple and ask the right kind of questions like that. But if you're like in the Western culture, which is really no culture, which is like Asura culture or Rakshasa culture, you know, which is just like I said, you know, parents, can you give me money? And the parents give it, and then the child is spoiled. The child, we call them spoiled brat. You know, then they become materialistic, spoiled brat, you know. So
that's why the brat is spoiled.
Yeah, so it depends on the culture. Yeah. But accepting a spiritual master means it's a serious relationship. It's a commitment like that. Just like marriages, right? Because, you know, a boyfriend, girlfriend, you can just hang out and do whatever you like. But when you get married, then it means commitment. So like that. So, you know, we can talk friendly way. We can talk friendly way with anyone. But you don't have to do anything, you know, you don't have to follow anything. But if you accept the person as your spiritual master, then whatever they say, you have to do it. If I talk with my friend, he's going to give me some advice. I don't have to follow that. But if your spiritual master gives you some advice, then you have to, that's more formal. Then you have to follow that one. So that's why Krishna was already Arjuna's friend. So why did he have to accept Krishna as his spiritual master? Because he wanted to make the relationship more formal like that, so that it would these questions and answers would be taken more seriously. So they would be taken more seriously. Because friend means equal, right? That before Krishna and Arjuna were like treating each other equally.
Yeah.
But like I say, if your friend tells you something, you don't have to follow it. But like if you then Arjuna changed that to, okay, now I'll make Krishna my superior. He's my authority. And your friend is not your authority. He's your friend. But he wanted to make Krishna's authority so that then they could have more serious talks. And then Krishna would give him the answers, and then he would carry it out. He would follow that. And so that's important. I mean, it's very important to have friends, but it's also very important to have, you know, an enlightened spiritual master to guide us also. And of course, the spiritual master is our friend, no doubt. I'm not saying the spiritual master is not he's our best friend, actually. Spiritual master is our best friend. But just in terms that it's a more formal relationship at that time.
Very, very hard to find the friend who will wishing well for you.
Yeah. Yeah, like Prabhupada, when he wrote a letter, he would always, how would he finish the letter? You know?
But
he would sign off the letter. At the bottom of the letter, he would always write, your ever well-wisher.
Well-wisher.
Your ever well-wisher. Not just well-wisher, but your ever, forever. Means
Forever,
like
yeah.
Eternally. Your ever well-wisher. Then he would write A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. He would write his, I don't know if you've ever seen Prabhupada's signature.
Yeah,
It's a work of art.
Gita. Very
Yeah,
big.
it's in all the books. It's in all the books. Look at the signature. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
There was one person, that was his job, was studying signatures. And he would be able to tell about the person by looking at the signature. There's an art of studying signatures and being able to tell about the person through their signature. And he looked at Prabhupada's signature and he said, this man is not from this material world. Well, just by his signature. He could tell that just by his signature.
Yeah,
he is from somewhere else. Like that. So yeah, Arjuna is accepting Krishna as his authority, as his spiritual master. So he's asking questions. So this is what a good example for us. These great personalities, Arjuna and Krishna, are teaching us by example. So we should also accept the spiritual master, and we should also ask questions. It's said like I was saying, that's an important duty of the disciple, to ask serious questions to the spiritual master related to progress and how to progress in Krishna consciousness. It said if we don't do that, it's not good. And Prabhupada also, he mentioned that, you know, that if you're not inquisitive, inquisitive means, you know, very interested or eager to ask questions. So if you're not very inquisitive, that's not a very good sign for a disciple. It means he's not very serious disciple. If he's not very inquisitive to make progress in spiritual life, and through asking questions, it's how we can progress and get the answers. You know, because why are we in the material world anyway. Why do we continue? Why does the soul continue to be in the material world? Because of ignorance. Because of ignorance. You know, well, what is ignorance? Ignorance means no knowledge. Okay, so I have no knowledge. That's why I'm in the material world, why I stay here birth after birth. Okay, so how do I get knowledge? I mean, I'm in here because I'm ignorant. I have no knowledge. How do I get knowledge? Well, you have to get answers. And to get there, you have to get knowledge. You have to get knowledge. You have to get some answers. So how do you get that knowledge? Well, you have to ask someone that has the knowledge. Whoever has the knowledge, you have to get it from them. How do you get the knowledge from them? You have to ask them. You know, if you don't ask, they might be full of knowledge. But if you don't ask any question, then knowledge isn't going to come out. You know what I'm saying? You know, you could be sitting next to the most enlightened person on the planet. But if you don't know what questions to ask, then you're not going to benefit anything. You're not going to benefit anything. You can say, oh, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Oh, the nice weather today. Oh, that's good. Yes. You know, but no, you should ask, you know, like what was the first thing when Sanatana Goswami met Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He said that people around me in society, they call me a very intelligent person. But what kind of intelligence I have, I don't even know who am I. I don't even know who I am. And he said, I don't even know who I am. And more than that, even, I don't even know why I'm suffering. So he's posing these questions to Lord Chaitanya, he's accepting Lord Chaitanya as a spiritual master. And he's asking Lord Chaitanya, who tell me who I am. And tell me, why am I suffering the threefold miseries? Adi Atmak, Adi Bautik, Adi Daiva Klesha. Why am I suffering from miseries? So this is intelligent. You know, that, you know, I'm ignorant, and because of that ignorance, I'm suffering in the material world, but I don't want to continue suffering. How do I get out of suffering? People don't know how to get out of suffering. So we need to approach someone that has the knowledge, you know. So, but unless you ask the right questions, then you're not going to get any benefit. So that's a very important thing to know if we want to advance in spiritual life. You have to know what questions to ask. What questions to ask. And you have to know who to ask them. Because if you ask another ignorant person, like we were saying, with 4 defects, if you ask even though you ask the right questions to a person that has the 4 defects, you're still going to be in darkness. You're not going to get the right answer. So you have to know who is the right person to ask the questions, and then ask the best quality questions. So we're not so intelligent. We don't know what questions to ask, but we're very lucky. Like here Arjuna, he's a very high class disciple. He's so high class that he's a friend of God. That's high class, you know. So he's God's friend. So he's asking the questions for us. You know, he's asking the questions for us. You know, you might ask, well, Arjuna doesn't seem very enlightened. Otherwise, why is he asking these questions? If he's already a friend of God and knows everything, why is he asking these questions? Actually, Arjuna is fully enlightened as a pure devotee, as a servant of Krishna. But Krishna has put him into a kind of maya. Krishna has put Arjuna, his devotee, into a kind of maya so that he can ask these questions for our benefit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, because like we read in the second chapter, Arjuna is confused. Now you might ask, well, if Arjuna is a pure devotee, why is he so bloody confused? Why is he crying and putting down his bow and arrow, and he's lamenting? Why is he lamenting about people dying? Doesn't he even know the first thing in spiritual life is that you're not the body? Yeah. Arjuna doesn't even know this because he's crying about, you know, Bhishma's going to die and Duryodhana's going to die and everything like that. Dronacharya's going to die, but doesn't even realize they're not the body. Why is he crying and lamenting about it? No, but it's Krishna has put his enlightened devotee into a kind of maya for the benefit of all of us, so that even now, 5,000 years later, for all time, we can be hearing this conversation, and we're the ones that are confused. We're the ones that are don't know we're not the body and everything. So for our benefit, you know, Krishna has created this conversation with his dear devotee Arjuna, who is enlightened, but temporarily he's been put into a kind of illusion just for our enlightenment, for our benefit. So we're very fortunate here. We can hear the number one best quality questions and the number one best quality answers, you know, like that. So we're very, very fortunate. Very fortunate. So yeah, what are the questions? He's saying, well, the first one is, what is Brahman?
Yeah.
What is Brahman? The second question is, what is the self?
Yeah.
The third question is, what are fruitive activities?
Yeah.
The fourth question is, what is this material manifestation? And the fifth question is, what are the demigods? So yeah, 5 questions he's asked about. And so one by one in this chapter, Krishna is going to answer those questions and further questions like that. So they're all going to be answered by Krishna. But yeah, these are very important questions. And I'll tell you what, you go outside the Krishna Conscious Society and ask these questions, and they're not going to have any idea whatsoever. like actually, one vegan lady was challenging me a bit on our Facebook page, and I gave her she gave me a challenging question, and I gave her a spiritual answer, and it went way over her head. I knew it would go way over her head, and she just couldn't understand it at all.
Yeah, because the level is not there. You got to have a level of understanding. Like if somebody asks that, like, you know, the question, but that, like, for example, if you ask that, like a taxi driver to do a operation in the hospital, he can't do that because his level of understanding, he has to go to the medical in exam in the school and get the marks and get the medical college and then the 4-year, 5-year study, then he'll be qualified to do operation or things like, because if you're trying to teach how to operate that on the heart operation, he can't because his level is not there. So if you're trying to teach it like a ignorant person about what we are on chapter, that's why you mentioned that if somebody wants to join the class, they can't join the class now because they were not there for the last 3 years. And all of a sudden, if you tell them that, they will not understand.
Yeah.
Because it's not there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I knew, you could say, well, why did you do that? You know, tell her such high stuff. Because she was actually trying to trap me. She was trying to trap me and bring me down to her mundane level. So I just took her up to a higher level, even though she can't understand it. But I'm not going to come down to her mundane level like that. And it's still purifying for them to hear. Yeah. It's still purifying for them to hear spiritual topics. Even like, for example, I'll tell you, sometimes like in India, right, you mentioned about speaking in Hindi. So sometimes there'll be a mainly Hindi audience. So, and there'd be a few Western disciples there. And sometimes Prabhupada would just speak in Hindi. And sometimes the disciples would get up to leave, you know, when the class started in Hindi, because they were thinking they can't understand it. So there's no point me being here. So I'll just go. And Prabhupada told his disciples, no, you sit down. You sit down and listen, even though you can't understand it. But because these are spiritual topics, it's purifying. Because these are spiritual topics, it's purifying for you. So and that's the same, like even with the Hare Krishna mantra, right? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Does it understand whether the person knows what the words mean?
Yeah, like
You
even if-
understand or you don't understand what the words mean, but you're getting purified because it's a
Yeah.
spiritual vibration. So the same, we do any spiritual talks because we're talking about Krishna and everything related to Krishna, devotional service and so forth, the spiritual world. It's beneficial, it's uplifting, it's purifying. So even if it goes like, I sometimes I'll be listening to a lecture Prabhupada gave and he's speaking to some university students or something like that. And what he's talking about is like, wow, it's even difficult for me to understand after being in the movement for 30 years. And Prabhupada's telling these people first time round, how the hell are they going to understand that? But Prabhupada knows that even they don't understand, it's still purifying them, it's still uplifting them. But what we don't want to do, okay, these people are so brain dead, I'm just going to talk about material things. No, and then okay, they'll understand that, but then what benefit do they get out of that? Nothing. And then what benefit do you get out of talking all that mundane stuff? Nothing. And is Krishna pleased by that? Not at all. So it's lose, lose, lose. Whereas, if you speak, bring people up to the spiritual platform, then Krishna's pleased, and as a result we become happy, and the other person also benefits also. So yeah, it's a case by case thing, but it's very rare to get proper questions and proper answers. But here we're so lucky in the Bhagavad Gita to get the best of everything. And but yeah, if we want to progress in spiritual life, it's very important. We should be inquisitive. We should have lots of questions. Like Prabhupada would get upset. Sometimes he would get upset at the end of a class. He would give a class, whatever, half an hour, 1 hour, whatever. Then he would ask, "Is there any questions?" And sometimes there'd be complete silence. And sometimes you hear Prabhupada say, "What? No questions?" He said, why are you not inquisitive? Why you don't have any questions? Are you nothing? You don't understand anything about what I've said? Like that, he would, and sometimes, he would express, he's a bit disappointed. But the spiritual master was a bit disappointed in the disciples that they didn't have any questions. So I would always, knowing that how important it is to have questions, I would often, like at the beginning of class, I would remember that. Look, I have to come up with a question by the end of the class.
Yeah.
At the end of the class, I have to have at least one question to ask whoever it was that was speaking. I would have to come up with at least one question. So, and I know that I'm a dull brain Kali Yuga person, that even if I have a question, right, and say in the middle of the class, after 20 minutes, a question comes in your mind, but by the end of the class, another half an hour, you've completely forgotten your question, right? So what I would do, I had a pen and paper with me.
Yeah.
I had a pen and paper, and as soon as the question came in my mind, I would write it down. Then at the end of the class, I would look at when he said, the speaker would say, "Is there any questions?" And I would bring out my pen and paper and look at the question and ask it. And many times, the speaker was very happy. And that's the thing, if that's a great service the disciple or the devotee can do for the speaker or the spiritual master, is to ask the nice questions, and the speaker becomes very enlivened. The speaker becomes very enlivened when the disciple or the devotees have some nice questions. He feels very enlivened. And you can read that through the Srimad Bhagavatam, that every time King Parikshit, who's been cursed to die in 7 days, he's asking questions, and he asks such high-level questions, such important questions. And then Shukadeva Goswami is just getting more and more excited, more and more enlivened when he hears these wonderful questions. And he glorifies the questions as glorious. Not only the answers are glorious, but the questions also are glorious questions, because it's these questions bring about wonderful talks about Krishna. But these wonderful talks will never come about if the people don't care to hear, if they're not interested, isn't it? Can you talk about a subject with a person if they have no interest in it?
No, because yeah, it's in the school as well, in the class as well. You raise your hand, I have a question. If nobody raised the hand, the teacher must be thinking, hey, they're all sleeping. They're not interested. And like, you know, it could be one of the other. And what is it? Like, of course, the teacher comes in the mind, like, you know, how can be possible that without question, like 30 students sitting in the class and nobody raised the hand for a question? It means there is a, it's like a question mark on his teaching.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So in the same way, the spiritual master or the speaker, the class speaker may think, have I not spoken well? You know, have I did something wrong? Like that. So that's not nice. You know, that because of our lack of questions, that they don't feel very good.
Sometimes people think that, oh, it's silly to ask the silly question. And I'll say that only the question you don't ask, that's a silly. Because they just
we shouldn't ask some stupid thing, you know, just that doesn't, you know, like sometimes.
Like, you know, it's everybody doesn't have a sharp mind. Some people are slow learner. And they maybe ask that question. They may not be, all class must be laugh on it. Oh, dumb, you didn't understand.
No, but as long as he's sincerely asking, that might not be very clever from other people's point of view. But if they're sincerely asking it, you know, then that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. And like sometimes someone would ask a question that wasn't related to anything that Prabhupada spoke about in the class, and sometimes Prabhupada would get upset about that. So he would get upset if there was no questions. And if someone asked a question that had no relation to anything in the class, he would get upset about that. You know, so that's something, you know, to know. You know, it should be something connected to what you just heard about.
It's like somebody got initiated and then asked that, oh, I apply for such and such job. Guru Maharaj, will I get this job? Public servant. Guru Maharaj look at him. He said, I'm here to answer this question. Or, oh, like it totally irrelevant, like, you know, like anyway, it's like that Guru Maharaj sometimes thinking that, really? I'm here to answer that, you know, what color of the sari should I wear on the Janmashtami?
Yeah. Too mundane, yeah.
Yes. So
I'll tell you what, Prabhupada, he was immediately attracted to Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati when he first met him, but he couldn't get initiated straight away. But he really loved to hear his guru speaking. And whenever he could get a break from his family duties and work and stuff, he would go to hear from his guru. And one time it was in Radhakund, his guru was speaking, and somewhere around that area, and there was a big program going on. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was there, so many disciples, thousands of disciples, and it was announced in the morning that there will be one tour today to go to this particular temple, to go to Sheshashayi temple or some temple like that. And then alternatively, that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was going to be giving a talk. So there was 2 choices. Now, amazingly, like 99% of the disciples chose to go to the temple, and 1% went to hear from the guru. And one of those 1% was Abhay Babu, as he was known then, Abhay Babu. So, Prabhupada. So, and his guru spoke for half an hour, 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, 3 hours. It was like 3 hours. And then after half an hour, there was only a few people in the beginning, like less than 10 or whatever. And then after half an hour or so, one person left, and a little bit more time, another person left, and a little bit more time, another person left. You know, because like I said, 1.5, 2, it's a long time. He was talking for a long time. And Prabhupada, Abhay Babu, he was one of the last few people there. And he was just soaking it up, you know, just sitting there very attentively and hearing from his guru. And afterwards, when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati was speaking with some other disciples after that, then he commented that this Abhay Babu, I noted in him that he really likes to hear. He likes to hear. So Prabhupada's guru marked it in this devotee that he likes to hear. And shortly after that, he initiated him. Shortly after that. So he initiated him. So his birth name was Abhay Charan. So his initiated name was Abhay Charanaravinda. Right? So after initiation, his name was Abhay Charanaravinda. Like that. Lotus feet. Aravinda's lotus. Charan feet, lotus feet. Fearless. Why? How is it the person, the devotee, is fearless? Because they are at the lotus feet of Krishna. If you're under the shelter, of Krishna's lotus feet, there's no fear there. There's no fear under the shelter of Krishna's lotus feet.
If the sun comes up, there's no darkness. You don't like if it's in the one room has got a darkness, you can't push the darkness out of the room. All you gotta take one candle, and darkness will disappear. You can't push the darkness out of the room.
Yeah.
Take one candle, and that's it. The same thing. Like, you know, if sun comes up, there's nowhere darkness. Simple as.
Yeah.
It's very deep, but
but
again, it's a level of understanding whom you're talking to. It's important as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
So there's 9 processes of devotional service.
Yeah.
What's the first one?
Shravana.
Shravana means?
It's speaking.
No, hearing.
Oh, hearing.
The second one is speaking. Kirtan. Kirtan is speaking. So that's the first process, means the foundation of all the others is hearing. And like I said, like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati noticed that in Prabhupada, he likes to hear. This is very important. If we want to become a disciple, if we want to get serious about spiritual life, if we want to progress in spiritual life, we need to develop this quality, to like to hear. We're eager to hear. In the 2nd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it mentions there in one purport the secret to being able to see Krishna. And that's the perfection. That's the nothing more better than that, to get to the point where we can see Krishna and have the association of Krishna. It mentions there that it starts from being eager to hear. You have to be eager to hear. If you're interested to hear these kind of spiritual questions and answers, then you can progress. And if you don't care about it, if you're not interested in hearing about spiritual topics, then you're not going to progress. So it's very important. And we see it's very rare. It's very rare that people have an interest in spiritual things, you know, like that. Whereas if you go to talk about the sports, if you go to talk about the rugby or the cricket, there'll be so many people interested to hear. Oh, did you hear about the war in Israel? Did you hear about the war in Ukraine? There'll be millions of people lining up to hear. Did you hear about how you can easily become a millionaire? There'll be millions of people eager to hear. Did you hear about Elon Musk and Bill Gates and blah, 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 all these mundane politicians, whatever like that? And there'll be millions of people. But do you want to hear what Purushottam is saying? No, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear about. Do you want to hear about what Arjuna is talking about with Krishna? No, no. So that is our problem. That there's no interest. Very little interest that people have to hear about Krishna.
Do you believe that if whoever is hungry, he'll find the food? If somebody wants to hear about Purushottama, he will come to you, or he will come to Prabhupada, or he'll come to the temple. Do you believe in that? If somebody really wants...
Well, that's not what Prabhupada said. And Prabhupada said that's not going to happen generally automatically. I mean, like maybe a few people, like I said, on their rock bottom, like if you're really on your rock bottom and you're suffering. But Prabhupada said that is why preaching is required. What does preaching mean? Preaching means the people are not interested, but you got to try to make them interested. That is the purpose of the preacher. That there's no interest in spiritual things, but you've got to try to awaken that in the people. You've got to try to make an interest there in Krishna where there is not much interest. And then how are you going to do that? That's your intelligence. That's your preaching. You know, like one of the things I did when I first went to one temple, and what's the first thing I did there to try to, and there was no one coming to class. So in the morning, no one come in class. So what did I do? What did I do? I made really special milk sweets.
Oh, yeah.
Special burfi, sandesh, rasgulla, rasmalai, peda, all the things. And I kept them there in the temple room. So people were coming to get the milk sweets. But and to get that, then they ended up coming to the class. So then they would come to the class and the kirtan and that like that. So like that's the preacher, that you have to like trick people into coming to Krishna consciousness.
That's often parents does that for the children as well sometimes.
You know, so it does not keep us all coming. Yeah. So even like that, we had a quiz, I remember, on Balaram's appearance day, Balaram Purnima. To make the class interesting, what I did, I asked some questions. We were reading from Krishna's Leela, and I asked some questions. And if you answered the question, I would give them a milk sweet. So then that class, there was a lot of interest. You know, like people were really carefully hearing in that class. Because if they heard it properly and answered the question, oh, I know the answer, then they'd get a sweet. You know, so like that, somehow you have to draw out an interest and get people that are interested to hear. Otherwise, they'll all be sleeping or they won't even come. Usually they won't even come, or even if they come, they'll sleep. You know, so but that's your business as a preacher to make an interest come out of them. Because remember, in the material world, is the opposite energy is flowing to ignorance. Like I said, tamas. This is a world of, like you said, darkness, no sunlight. So it's a world of darkness and tamas. So it's not automatically going to be that, yeah, we all want to hear about Krishna. Tell me. No, it's not like that. They don't want to hear. You know, so you got to, that's your business as a preacher, as a devotee, to try to attract people and awaken people's interest to hear about Krishna. And that's hard. It's damn hard. And that's why Prabhupada was successful and not many others, you know, because he's like just so empowered. He's called Shakti Avash Avatar. He's an empowered incarnation of God, you know, so it takes a lot of spiritual power to convert someone from being on Maya's side to Krishna's side. That's most magic, greatest magic, to get some soul that's been conditioned by Maya for millions of lifetimes. Just imagine the history. Millions of lifetimes of trying to just gratify our senses in the material world and illusion. And then you've got to turn that soul around to surrender to Krishna. That's damn hard. That's damn hard. So it takes power, it takes some spiritual power to be able to do that. Yeah, and all glories to Prabhupada that, you know, he attracted thousands and thousands. And still even today, you know, after he's left more than 40 years ago, still today people are getting attracted because of his books and his followers and everything that he's empowered his followers like that, and his books are still there and everything, and people are still getting attracted. Amazing. But yeah, it's not automatic, you know, that, you know, very rare soul is just going to come running up to the devotee and say, hey, please tell me about Krishna, you know, but that's very rare. Normally there's not much interest there, and you have to try to.
A lot of people ask that when I drive an Uber, they see my Shika and they ask a question there. And some of them, they know, they say, are you Hare Krishna? I say, yes, I'm proud to be Hare Krishna.
Nice.
And then ask that some question if they have got any. And then it's like a trip, maybe in Newcastle is around 8 or 10 minute trips. And then I just offer him to, you know, any day if you feel a bit lazy to cook, please come to Bhakti Tree. And it's, you know, some days it's lazy to cook, please come to Bhakti Tree, and you will get food, and then we can talk more in detail. And sometimes they come, sometimes they don't. It's okay. And sometimes they come and yesterday I was talking to a couple, and it become 8:30, 8 o'clock, restaurant closed. And I was talking with them around maybe 7:30, 7:45, something like that. And then I noticed that all the lights are closed. And then I was talking with there was a couple, like a husband and wife.
Yeah.
And all that. And then chef says, my restaurant is closed. It's 8 o'clock. It's become 8:30. And I said, oh, okay. And then we were just talking about Jagannath and Puri and all the things there. And then he ended up with buying one Bhagavad Gita. So, and then he was saying that when he picked the Bhagavad Gita, I said, your journey starts from now. You picked up the Bhagavad Gita. That's it. From today, your journey starts. How long will it take? Krishna will decide. But it's already started.
Nice. Wonderful.
And then he said, oh, okay. And I said, well, I don't know when he gonna read it, how much he gonna read it. And then the Krishna says, I'm the intelligence. He's the one give you the intelligence to read. But all I can say, your journey starts from today.
Wonderful. Well, it's ecstatic.
How many lifetimes? I don't know, Krishna. Can we take one lifetime only? It's about depend on your endeavor. How much, you know, you bring in a practice. And then his wife was saying that I'm reading a Shiv Puran. When I finished the Shiv Puran.
These were Westerners or Indians?
No, Indian.
Indians, yeah.
Okay. So when I finished the Shiv Puran, then I start reading the Bhagavad Gita. I said, good. And they said, when do you have a free time? I said, free time, what do you want to? He said, well, if you can preaching us. I said, no, I'm not a preacher. Come to the temple.
Yeah, you can. Why not? Yes, of course.
It's in a temple, like, you know, it's like a...
That's good. No, you shouldn't say like that. Now, you can also preach to others, like you are already.
Yeah,
you are. You know, Lord Chaitanya, he wanted every devotee to become a spiritual master. And you don't have to be, and it doesn't have to be all formal that you make them your disciple and give them a name, but you can preach to them, you know, talk to them about Krishna.
Was preaching that an hour when the restaurant closed, and I don't even know that. He doesn't even know. He was too busy listening that. So I said, next thing is... Yeah,
I know, but I mean, like, you can cultivate people, go to their house, take some prasad and talk to them about Krishna. They can ask you questions. That's nice.
Visit other people's houses because I don't know what they cook and what they eat. And
true.
If
then you can, once again, you can say, if you want me to eat in your house, you have to be vegetarian.
I said, come to Bhakti. to a temple is a very, very good place. Like Bhagavatam class there every morning, 8 o'clock. You come
No,
to the
no,
temple.
but that's not, but no, you're not being practical, because some people won't be able to do that. They may not be able to drive for 1 hour and then go to class at 7:30 in the morning is too early or whatever like that. It's very difficult. But if you're only 5 minutes away from them or whatever like that, then it's more easy for them. You got to make it easy for them. You don't want to make their life more difficult, especially in the beginning. It might be more practical, just that 5 minutes. Go and see them, go to their house or whatever. And then later on, if they become more serious, then yeah, maybe they go to the temple. And
when next time come, I'll ask him that, Bhagavad Gita. Anyone will touch the Bhagavad Gita, my sixth sense just comes up. I just get excited and just my first question is that how do you know about it? Like, who recommend that? If somebody told you, how do you know about this Bhagavad Gita?
Yeah.
And then they will tell that, oh, I heard about such and such. Oh, okay. And then it's nicer to be. So next time when they come, I'll ask them, how are you going? And then conversation start. He probably asks some question, or if he thinks that he need to know more about it, I say sure. My place,
but I wouldn't be reserved like that in future if people ask you like that to go to their house and visit them, or they can come to your house or whatever like that.
I don't know. I don't have a knowledge. I mean, it's too.
No. I don't agree. After we've been discussing for more than 3 years and everything, and apart from that, so many experiences you've had, and the point is, whatever you know, that much you can tell. You don't have to tell about things you don't know anything about, but whatever even if your realization is that Jagannath is wonderful and Prasadam is good, so whatever you know, that much you can tell. Like, you're excited about Jagannath, you talk about that. You said you're excited about Bhagavad Gita, and we've been hearing from Bhagavad Gita and that for 3 years.
When Westerner comes that, he said, why this Prasadam is so good? I said, because the first thali plate goes to Jagannath. And he said, who's Jagannath? I said, he is Jagannath. He's a creator. And then we take the one first plate there. He have that. And then everybody will have it. You, me, or any other staff will come and eat, or a customer will come and eat. First day goes to Jagannath. And he's the Jagannath. And then he said, and I tell these things to Westerner or Indians, irrelevant. For me, Jagannath is Jagannath for everyone. And the Westerners are just, they're getting a bit inquisitive, and sometimes they can read that a little poster there and they look at the books in there. Indian people know that things. And then Indian, I tell them, like, it's one of the dham. It's a 4 dham. So it's one of them. It's like Jagannath Puri. It's like a Dwarkadish one. And then Puri is the second. In the south is Rameshwaram, and the north is what do you call that? Badrinath Kedarnath.
Badri,
So 4 dham is one of them. So it's like, if you haven't been to, just put in your bucket list. In your lifetime, must go there before you die, because your birth is not just come to born in India for just no reason. There is a reason. You could have to born in Japan. Why did you born in India? So the Krishna wants you to be in these 4 places. So please, you could have to born in Jamaica, or in Africa. If Krishna gave you birth in India, it means Krishna wants you to visit these 4 places. That's where the Krishna lives in there. So it's at least once in a lifetime, visit one, all of them once at least. So I've been all of them, but I haven't been in the north. I've been to Rameshwaram, I've been to Dwarkadish, and then Puri a few times, and Vrindavan. And then north, I haven't been to that Badrinath Kedarnath. I went to Gangotri and Gomukh, but I haven't been further up there. But definitely, next trip I'll prefer to. But I'd recommend everyone there, because it's just like whatever you do, you recommend. As Prabhupada says, if somebody come and asks that, oh, my son eat too much sugar, Prabhupada said, come after 1 week. Because on that time, Prabhupada was eating sugar. He quit the sugar, then he said, don't eat the sugar. He said, well, the lady said, well, you could have to tell him last week. Why didn't you say now? He said, because last week I was eating sugar. So I stopped first. I said, I've been there. You can go there too. I can't just there, you go, but I haven't been to. So I read the Bhagavad Gita, and I recommend that, okay, you read. And if you don't read the Bhagavad Gita, and if you give it to someone, it's not going to affect. It's not going to affect that person if you don't read Bhagavad Gita and recommend other people to read it. No way they can read it. As simple as. So it's like, but then whatever I know, I learn from you. I've got no other source. Only you on the class for last 3 years. Or sometime I go to the temple as well, and whoever given the Bhagavatam class.
But don't say I'm recommending people go to these 4 dhams, because I'm not saying that.
No. Yeah, I'm happy to
Actually,
say, because
do you know what is the benefit of going to a holy place? What is the main benefit you get from going to a holy place?
you got to get a mercy of that Krishna's devotee there, and then all the it's vibe, and then energies, everything is there. It's like, you can go to a little village in India, or if you go to Vrindavan, there is a difference. Vrindavan is the place that is Krishna's place, so there is definitely a different vibe there, and then
So the different vibe is mainly there because the holy devotees are there, because the sadhus.
Why?
So it's said that the main benefit of going to a holy place is to hear, once again, talking about hearing, is you go to the holy place to hear from the sadhus, from the devotees, from the bhaktas, Krishna's
100%.
bhaktas. It says, one verse in Bhagavatam says, if you go to the holy place just to take a bath in the holy river, but you don't go to hear from the devotees, it says, that verse says you're no better than a cow or an ass, a donkey.
Yes, pretty much.
But people do that. They just go there to take darshan like that at the temple or take a bath, and they think they've visited the holy place, but that's not really it. Like I said with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's disciples, 99% of them just went to take darshan at the temple. And they didn't want to hear from their guru. We're complete idiots. They're like a cow, gokara, a cow or an ass.
Yeah.
They're so stupid.
If somebody
even if people can't go to those 4 places, that's okay. But they should go somewhere where there are devotees and hear from them.
Yeah.
Or if that's in Vrindavan, or that's in Mayapur, or that's in Jagannath Puri, or if that's in New Zealand, or if that's in Australia. The main thing is wherever there are devotees that are talking about Krishna, that's the main recommendation in Kali Yuga. Of course, in Dwapara Yuga, the Yuga Dharma, the recommended process for self-realization in Dwapara Yuga was temple worship. So then I would say, then go to all those temples, and then you'll, attain perfection. But in Kali Yuga, that's not really the process, just going to temples.
Kali Yuga,
the main thing is like I said, Shravanam, Kirtanam, like that, these 9 processes. So they have to hear. People have to go somewhere where they can hear about Krishna. Because I tell you what, if they go to Badarikashram or Dwarka or whatever, and they don't hear about Krishna, then where's the benefit? Where's the benefit? There's some benefit. Definitely there's some benefit there, but it's not. They could be better.
Next time they go, may not be some benefit, but definitely they will have a shramana, and next time will they go have a little bit more. Eventually, it will happen. It's like it's like when we do chanting. When I do chanting, all the bells and everything come in my mind on the time of the chanting. Okay, all the things comes there. So it's like I just tell everyone there, if you want to sharpen that knife or blade, you keep rubbing that a stone. One day it will get sharpened, no matter what. If you keep going to these places there, one day it will get purified, no matter how atheist you are. Guaranteed.
Yeah, but the point is, we have limited time, as you know. Our life's short. Why take the complicated path?
You can take more than one life, but you keep going.
But why? Why make it many lives? Why not finish it one life?
Again, only Krishna knows
how many lives. Gulshan, I'm just a simple person. I like things very easy and simple. So like that, if you can get the maximum benefit just by hearing from the devotees, then why not do that? Why take trouble to travel all over the India or whatever, going to so many places and get a little bit of benefit? Why not just get maximum benefit? Just go to one place and hear from the devotees, and like that, it's so much more benefit.
It's one guy says that you can take horse to the water, but you can't force them to drink it.
Yeah.
It's slightly different. I said, I make the horse to be that much tired, run around, he's got to drink it. Amazing. Turn around that much. When he go to the water, he's gonna drink it.
Yeah.
He can make the other people that much inquisitive. When
Yeah.
he comes to the preaching lecture, he will ask question no matter what.
Yeah.
You have to make them like that, and then whether he's interested or not, but he will. He make them forced to drink it, because he can't just take the water, stand there to the hose, he'll drink it. No. Run around
Yes.
that much, he'll go and drink.
Yes, yes.
Anyway, it's just
Nice.
it's a simple way, but it's like an all road